Speaking with my sister Marjorie, they were the antique freaks all over the state, whether it was collecting shells or stones or flower specimens that he could then cultivate and pass on to everyone else. I have so much to say about James, and I can't do any more, and I can't read with glasses on, and I can't take them off. So I'm going to draw to a conclusion and simply say that it was, as we hear, trying to organize his various collections and bring some order to a life so abruptly and unwillingly and crazily ended. The material things he collected, even the flowers in the stone, emblematic of nature and the connection he felt with this world around him. His spiritual link was the biggest collection we've found is the collection of people who have consoled us and come and talked to us and exhibited such care for my brother. Thank you. A good friend of his has volunteered to read one more thing that he composed. Hans Achenbach is a fellow military friend.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, my name is Hans. I was a friend of Jage's. When I first met Jage, I lived in the U District, the North End, or made in heaven on earth. Now I live in Bellevue. I think we've come together today from all around South Seattle, from the region, from out of state, to honor a friend, a neighbor, a brother, a cousin, a brother-in-law, an uncle, or just a man that we knew to be a good guy, James Jage Paroline. You know, until a week ago, I didn't know that his name was Jage, or James. I knew him as Jage, and I think some of the neighbors I talked to said that's the way we knew him too. So it's going to be Jage from now on. I'd like to tell you a little bit today about how Jage related to his neighborhood and to the traffic circle around which we're all standing. I knew Jage for 20 years. I was a kid from Puyallup who went to the UW and hung around in the North End, so all I knew about South Seattle was what I could see from I-5 when I whizzed by, and that was Boeing Field and industrial Seattle. To know Jage was to know the real South Seattle through the eyes of, I think, its unelected mayor. Jage's enthusiasm for the neighborhood was unbounded. Jage loved the neighborhood's diversity and its variety. He loved the various beaches where he would walk his, and I'm trying to imitate him now, his doogies. You've heard that before. He loved the fine old houses along Lake Washington shore and along Seward Park Avenue. He loved the secret view of Lake Washington over on South Ryan where he used to live. If you haven't seen it, it's magnificent. I came to know Joe. Advised me that I could get a lot more house for my money down here in the South. Last night, a couple of the neighbors from South Ryan, I see them here today, came by and reminded me of something that we all lived with Jage through, and that was the theft of his car 3 times. But you know, the only time I think I ever saw him get even a tiny bit upset about the situation was when they stole the tires and left the car. Several years ago, Jage did share a concern with me about his neighborhood, a concern that many folks throughout Seattle and the region have with their neighborhoods as well. Drivers were speeding through the narrow residential streets and through the intersections of the neighborhood. As president of my neighborhood association in the North End, I had overseen the installation of 5 traffic circles in the U District, So I briefed Jade, there's a military word for a couple of vets. I briefed him on the several different ways to get the city to install a traffic circle, and the fact that the city would request that he take care of the traffic circle if it were installed. So I asked him, why do you want to take all this work upon himself? And his answer was simple: because he was concerned about the children and the pets in the neighborhood. And one of those children was Isaiah, who lived across the street from him. And once Isaiah was bigger, Isaiah's young sister Olivia was a concern. And not just those children, but the children down this street and that street and this street. Sorry. Traffic circle, as we know, prevents accidents because it causes drivers to slow down and pay attention to their surroundings. Sometimes they don't pay attention until the last moment, as witnessed by this poor tree here, which I think, after examining, has been hit several times. So why trees don't get very big in Seattle traffic circles. But you know, they're there to educate the drivers, and Jade was willing to take that responsibility to slowly bring people to an awareness of their social responsibility to their neighbors and their neighborhoods, and especially the children and the small animals that sometimes slip a leash. Jade's lobbying efforts with the city finally paid off. This traffic circle was installed, and Jade, as we know, took on the responsibility of caring for the circle. And that is what he was doing last Wednesday, caring for the traffic circle. Oh, sorry. And his neighborhood when he was brutally assaulted. I think it's ironic that one of the women who assaulted him had her 3 small children with her in the vehicle. These children were children that Jade was trying to protect with his traffic circle. Thanks for your attention.